All right, let's get right into it. We're going to go on a bit of a journey here to really understand the unique wiring of our own minds. How they're built for depth, how the world today constantly challenges them, and most importantly, how we can take back the controls. I mean, have you ever just felt like your brain is on a completely different wavelength than everyone else's? Like you see things or feel things in a way that others don't? Well, if you're nodding along, you need to hear this. That's not a bug, it's a feature. And today, we're going to decode what that feature really is. So, first things first, let's pop the hood and see what's really going on in there. For anyone who feels things really deeply or questions everything, well, it turns out psychology has some pretty cool terms for what's happening. Okay, so this first one is called cognitive complexity. And look, this isn't just a fancy way of saying you overthink. No, no. Psychologists see this as your brain's superpower to analyze a problem from every conceivable angle. It's the reason you see all the shades of gray when everyone else is just seeing black and white. And it's why a simple, easy answer just never quite cuts it for you. And that leads right into our next idea, hyperconnectivity. If you feel like your brain just never shuts off, this is probably why. It's like you have this superpowered search engine in your head that's constantly connecting dots, linking something someone said today to a random article you read 5 years ago. It's amazing for creativity, for sure, but it's also the reason you're always digging for deeper meaning instead of just scratching the surface. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, see if any of these ring a bell. Feeling emotions like way more intensely than other people, always questioning why things are the way they are. Small talk feeling like a total mental drain. Listen, these are not, I repeat, not social flaws. They're just signs that your mind is running on a more complex operating system. Hey, even talking to yourself, that's actually a form of verbal reasoning. It's you organizing all those complex thoughts out loud. Okay, so we've looked at the internal wiring. Now let's talk about how that wiring makes us act out in the real world. Because, a lot of our behaviors are just reactions. But man, can they be misunderstood? And this is so important. What some people might call antisocial, psychology has a different name for it: high sensory processing. It just means your brain is getting overloaded with information. You're not avoiding people because you don't like them. You're protecting your battery. And being quiet online, that's not a confidence issue. It's about valuing your privacy. It's all about smart self-preservation, really. So here's the bottom line. Needing your space, needing quiet, it is not a sign of weakness. It's a defense strategy for a very powerful, very sensitive system. You're not fragile. Your brain is just a high-performance engine that's processing a ton of data, and it needs the right conditions to run smoothly. All right, so here's the problem. We've got these incredible, deeply wired minds, and we're living in a world that's basically a non-stop distraction machine. This sets up what might be the biggest battle of our lives, the fight for our own focus. You know that feeling? You spend all Sunday making the perfect to-do list, planning out your entire week, and then Monday comes and you do nothing? Well, there's a name for that. It's called the intention-action gap. See, your brain gets a little reward, a little dopamine hit, just from the idea of being productive. It feels so good to plan and organize that your brain kind of forgets it needs to do the actual work. It's a sneaky trap of motion without any real movement. And you better believe modern technology is built to exploit this. It's a perfect four-step trap. First, your brain whispers, "Ooh, maybe this next video has the secret I need." Then, boom, dopamine spike. You get that feel-good rush before you even click. It's a perfect escape from whatever hard thing you're supposed to be doing. And then, lather, rinse, repeat. The crazy part is, you're not addicted to the content itself, you're addicted to the distraction. Which brings us to a really hard truth. One day, it's such a comforting lie, isn't it? It's your brain's favorite way of putting off the hard stuff. But the only way out of that trap is to decide that today is day one. Okay, so enough about the problem. Let's talk solutions. This is the practical part. If we know we can't trust our feelings to get us there, how do we build discipline that actually sticks? The secret? It's not about motivation. It's all about systems. Just think about it for a second. Motivation? That's a feeling. It's a fair weather friend. It shows up when it's sunny, but it's gone the second things get tough. Systems, on the other hand. Systems are logical. They're like the train tracks that guide your actions. The most disciplined people on the planet don't rely on the right mood. They rely on their tracks, their routines, to get them where they need to go, rain or shine. So, how do you build these systems? It's simpler than you think. 3 rules to take back control. Rule 1, add friction. Make it harder to get distracted. Log out of your social media. Bury those apps in a folder on the last page of your phone. Just that little bit of effort can snap you out of a bad habit. Rule 2, master delay. Just train yourself to say, not now, later. You're building that muscle that chooses the long-term win over the short-term buzz. And rule 3, automate your decisions. Decide ahead of time what you're going to do and when. That way, there's no debate, you just do it. Now, when you start to get this right, when you master your internal world and build the systems to handle the external one, something amazing starts to happen. You start to develop this quiet confidence. It isn't loud, it doesn't need to announce itself, it's just there. It's real. Psychologists talk about something called emotional gravity. It's this idea that a calm, centered person has this pull. Their stable energy just makes other people feel secure. You stop chasing things, people, opportunities, because your own solid presence starts attracting them to you. And this is the big one. Their validation comes from the inside. It's not up for debate. It doesn't depend on how many likes they get or what anyone else thinks. They've just outgrown the need for applause because they've learned to approve of themselves. You won't see them posting about their hustle. They're too busy doing the work. They move in silence. They let their results do all the talking. And trust me, that quiet execution speaks way louder than any post about what they're going to do. So what's the foundation of all this? It's a few key things. It's truly believing you're in the driver's seat of your own life. It's being able to regulate your own emotions. It's choosing your purpose over what's popular. And it's building a real identity offline, not just performing one online. That right there is the blueprint for real, authentic power. So I want to leave you with this one final thought. There's this idea that the biggest addiction in the world today isn't a substance, it's distraction. Because your life is really just the sum of all the things you pay attention to. And if you lose control of your attention, you're losing control of your life, one tiny moment at a time. So the only question left is, who's really in control of yours?